I was gonna say, and how you even got the news, like how that all went down.
Shit, I just got, man, a message from the court because, man, I'm pro se, so I get, man, as soon as he filed it, I got it.
Wow. Just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for joining me. So excited to have you and kind of go through this process. I was telling you, I was following your trial and was, of course, just interested by the story and the story that, I was hearing, like, your side of things. And then, of course, you're representing yourself being pro se. So I took an interest. But then as I watched it, I feel like every day got more and more interesting and made me want to learn more. So thank you for being here. I know this is a life-changing event for you for sure. And let me be clear. What do you prefer to be called? I watched an interview and I think you said Ty, but I just want
Yeah, Ty works. It's short for Tyrone. That's my middle name.
to.
So,
Okay.
everybody's been going by that since I was a kid. So,
Okay. Got it. Okay. I'll call you Ty. Because you let me in on the news, I figure we can start there.
yeah,
Um,
go ahead.
what
Spill the beans.
what is going on? So the latest, you'll have to walk us through, but the judge has recused himself from your case,
Yep, sure has.
which is massive.
Yep, that changes everything. It's matter of fact, it's the main reason I went pro se is because of the judge. Um, you know, my lawyers and I knew a long time ago that there was no way we could win in that venue, right? The judge was going to block us at every turn. The judge was going to make it so that, man, there was no way we could win,
Hmm.
right?
Mhm.
And we did everything we could to try and avoid that. I mean, we filed motions to dismiss. We literally, I mean, we uncovered a gank load of misconduct on the case, right? And I don't know if you remember my JOA, man, when I was going at him about that shit, going at him about it. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, you know, that's why I did that. I did that on purpose. It wasn't, man, that I didn't know how to argue a JOA. It's just that, man, I knew he wasn't going to give it to me, so I might as well use the platform to put him on blast for the misconduct he committed.
Yeah.
Right.
Wait, and
And
just for the audience, can you explain the JOA?
JOA is judicial acquittal. After the state gets done putting on their case, you get a chance to go ahead and tell the judge, why you think their case doesn't meet prima facie. It
Mhm.
doesn't have a surface quality to it. Is basically what that means. On the prima facie literally means on the surface, and if it has all the elements, of a case that they think it could go forward, then okay, fine, then he goes forward with it.
Mhm.
Now that's different from the JOA at the end because you get a judicial acquittal at the end too.
Okay.
That one, it's basically you're arguing in that one that the case isn't good enough for any jury to see, to actually, to vote beyond a reasonable doubt that
Got it.
that you're guilty. Um, you know, Judge Jones. I'm not exactly sure why he did this. I mean, I can think of a few reasons why he did it. But at the same time, it brings on a new judge.
Mhm.
We're going to renew our motion to dismiss, which I was working on anyway, because again, during the JOA, when I told him, I was like, we had three officers who all admitted to set me up with a CI in the jail, right? Which you can't do that. That literally is illegal,
Okay.
right? So it's you can look it up. It's the Messiah ruling is what it is from the Supreme Court. And
Okay.
basically, what it says is it violates Miranda. You
Mm,
know, basically, when police arrest you, they read you your Miranda rights, right? You
right.
have the right to remain silent, you have a right to an attorney, blah blah blah, right?
Mhm.
But so when you're arrested, now you're in jail. Most people in jail are represented by an attorney,
Right.
right? They usually have a public defender or even a pro se guy, but they're represented. They're represented defendants at that point, right? And that means the cops can't talk to them without their attorney being present. Right,
Right.
their attorney has to agree to it and has to be there, right?
Mhm.
Well, what the Messiah ruling says is that you can't do it by proxy either. You can't
Oh,
have some inmate go in there, put you next to some inmate and have them, saying, "Oh, well, he confessed," or "I overheard this," or whatever. Because man, that's a common thing, right?
got it.
It's actually very common.
Got it.
And the thing is, though, but it's highly illegal,
Mm,
right? And it violates four of your constitutional rights, right, including the right to due process, right?
mhm.
That's the important one.
Got it.
Because in Florida, the right to due process, if the prosecutors knowingly violate your right to due process, which they did in this case, right? They did it multiple times. But just this one instance, right? Okay, well, when they violate your right to due process and the prosecutors knowingly do it, the Constitution for the state of Florida says that the judge must dismiss the case.
Oh, got
It's
it.
not a matter of, he doesn't get a choice.
Got
And
it.
that's what I was reminding Judge Jones that day.
Nice. Yes. Got it.
Um, so hopefully, whoever the new judge is, they're going to rule by the law, and they're actually going to go, with the law on this. And man, the law says, man, you have to dismiss this with prejudice. So it's done. It's over.
Yeah.
And this is why I knew, my lawyers knew, and they trusted me. But man, my lawyers, they wouldn't have won there, right? They're good lawyers, great lawyers. I have some of the best, right? But I mean, you can't, and I ask lawyers this all the time, because I'm getting criticized all the time for not having a lawyer, right?
Mhm.
It's like, okay, well, you turn around and ask that lawyer, how do you beat a dirty judge? You can argue the law all you want. It's not going to matter. It's like arguing the law to the mob. Good luck with that.
Right.
So it's like, I mean, and going pro se, I can do things and get away with things that my lawyers couldn't, is basically what it is. Right. So when I was quoted a few times as saying, it's called a defense team for a reason. Right. And
Mhm.
yes, man, in this particular circumstance, under these conditions, you know, it was the right move to do. Right. Because, okay, now it takes all the power away from him. Because, man, if my lawyers try and do anything to move against him, he can have them disbarred. He can literally have sanctions, man, put on him. Whereas me, I don't care if I get disbarred. Disbar me. I don't care. You know? So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter, and it took the power away from him. And it also made it for things like I could go ahead and do like I did with that JOA. And I could put him on blast. I mean, and by being respectful and trying to keep, I didn't curse at him, anything like that. It made it so that, man, he couldn't come after me for contempt. Right. So the thing is, I told the truth, put him on blast in front. And that was the other thing. Going pro se brought all the TV cameras. It brought people like you.
Yeah.
Right. So, man, now all the eyes are on him. Right. So, man, it's harder to do dirty things, man, when all the eyes of the world are on him. Right. So, literally, there were a bunch of different advantages. Now, did I like that I had to risk my behind going to the jury? No, not at all,
Yeah.
especially with what we did over the course of the trial. Um, but at the same time, was it worth the risk? Yeah, because man, it's not just me that they do this to. I'm not the only person now down in that county that's
Mhm.
had this happen. I have friends that are sitting in prison right now who don't belong to be there, right?
Mhm.
And but the thing is okay, you know, lawyers. I mean, okay, it took me a long time to find the right lawyers, right?
Mhm.
And man, I do. I have some of the best because, man, I'll tell you what, for them to step aside and let me take over was not easy for them, right? They did not like that idea at all, right? They didn't like the idea of me risking my behind out there. They didn't like the idea that, that I could get creamed on law and procedure, you know. But they helped me, and they helped me the whole time. I don't know if you ever noticed during the trial. There's times I'm texting, and there's times, man. Lauren, same thing. My wife, same thing. Whenever I needed something, I didn't have it right there. I could text my wife now. She knows the case just as well as I do, right? So, I'd say, hey, baby, I need this. And man, she'd go ahead and send it down to me. And man, I'd have it right there. So, I mean, I didn't do this by myself, right? But I'll tell you, you know, most times, 999 times out of 1,000, it would be an idiotic thing to do. But, again, how do you beat a dirty judge? You can't do it, man. You can't do it. Going in there thinking you're going to argue it the same way you would in a regular court.
Right.
Right? If you think about it that way, you're going to lose. And man, see, I didn't. That's not what I studied in school. I studied war in school. That's what I studied.
Mhm.
Right. So my approach to things was a little bit different from the get go, and that's why we did everything we did. But man, if you look at our history on the case, we took out dirty cops, we took out a dirty prosecutor, we took out a dirty judge. And now there's a good chance I'm going to win. And man, I'm going to win by a motion to dismiss, not risking my behind on the jury.
Yeah.
Because I really have no desire to go in there and be pro se again. You know, I really don't. I mean, I'll do it if I have to, but at the same time, I really don't want to. You know, It's like risking my behind. The first time was enough for me, you know. And my wife, I happen to be in a circumstance where, man, that fairy tale that never happens either.
Hmm.
Right? So my wife, I was basically your basic nobody. I was doing hurricane cleanup. I'm doing blue collar work. And I liked it like that. I'm not gonna say I didn't. You know, but at the same time, I get hemmed up for this, and it's like, I mean, my head was spinning. I couldn't even believe what just happened to me, right? And first person to contact me was my wife,
Hmm.
and she wasn't my wife at that point. She was a friend, from when we were kids, and I always had a crush on her from the time, man, we were kids. And but the thing is so she comes out of nowhere and got a gorgeous multimillionaire. She comes out of nowhere to save me. And I told her no at first, when she offered to help me. I told her no because I was like, they're going to realize, they're going to investigate some more. Because it's only a 5-day investigation,
Hmm.
right? So, like, they're going to continue to investigate. They're going to realize I had nothing to do with it, and they're going to let me go, right? So it's all good. I got this, right? And yeah, famous last words there, right? Um, but a couple months later, I realized I didn't have it. That these people were going to keep on prosecuting me. And I knew I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So it's like, and the first two things that went through my head, right, when I realized that they weren't, they're going to keep on coming. They're going to try and put me in prison for this. And I was like, the two things that went through my head was I can't take a deal because, man, I have kids,
Hmm.
right? A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people forget that I have kids. And yeah, they're grown. My kids are grown now, but that doesn't mean I'm not their father. And, look, what I consider this crime to be a scumbag crime, straight up. That's what I think about it. It's a scumbag crime, what they did. They killed a man over $1,000, you know. So, and then some crack or whatever. But the thing is, it's like, yeah, and everybody forgets that part too. People think I forgot about the victims. I was the only one in there arguing for the victims. How retarded is that, man? I'm the accused killer.
Yeah.
You know, I'm in there arguing for victims' rights. I'm citing Marcy's law. You know, trying to get them to do what's right. Anyway, but so my wife, man, when when I realized I needed help, because the other thing I realized is nobody was going to believe me. That's the thing is I can't take a deal and nobody's going to believe me. 'Cause if I take a deal, everybody in the world's going to think I did it,
Hmm.
right? It doesn't matter what the terms are. Like everybody's shocked that I wouldn't take a deal, man, for time served. Why should I? I didn't do anything. Why should I, man, save their behinds by taking a deal for time served? You know what I'm saying? No, because then I'm pleading guilty is what you're doing when you take a deal,
Right.
right? So no, no, I didn't do anything. I know you have no evidence saying I did because I know I didn't do it, right? I mean, but they kept on bringing, witness at they're all their witnesses were always people who were paid off, man. As far as it goes, right? Both co-defendants and then the jailhouse snitch, and then everybody cut deals, man, trying to, put me away. And it's like, and that one, the thing is we kept on fighting, we kept on winning. It's like, now we're to the point we are now. But when I first met and realized I needed help, I told my wife, I was like this. I was like, all right, because she kept offering to help me because we were talking still and all that, right?
Mhm.
And I'm like, all right, you want to help me? All right, here's what we're going to do. You're going to treat every word that ever came out of my mouth like it's a lie. Everything I ever told you, I'm a liar. Straight up,
Mhm.
I'm a liar. Don't believe a damn thing I said, right? I'm going to
Mhm.
send the lawyer, send you everything, every piece of evidence, everything we have, right? And if you look at it and you decide you want to help me, then cool. Then we'll work with this, right? If
Mhm.
not, it's okay. We're still friends. There's no hard feelings, nothing. But if you're going to do this, I want you to do it because you believe it, not because you believe what I'm telling
Okay.
you. So yeah, she looked at it, and and man, my wife is one hell of an investigator, I'll tell you, because oh man, the one that really set her off is when she found the interview room tapes. She's the one who found those. You
Oh.
know, those are the ones where they're literally talking about setting me up in there, and it's
Is
like,
I know one of the I meant to get some headphones. I don't know if the echo is still there, but I know one of the captains was is it Phelps or Phillips?
oh,
Phelps.
Yeah,
And
she's the main one who started all this, Um, she literally on the tape you can hear it, man, from beginning to literally from when they name me a suspect to when I go to jail, right? Pretty much, right? And in it, man. So my wife is after she decided to help me, she looked at it, she knew the affidavit was wrong, it doesn't match the videos. I can't even watch the videos because I'm in jail. Right? So my
mm,
wife is watching all the videos, right?
mhm,
And she comes across these tapes that don't look like anything, right? They're just, man, an empty interview room, right? That's all it is, right? But
mhm.
she was smart enough to put on, man, some Bose headphones and, man, listen to the thing, and, man, yeah, she catches them talking, literally talking about the whole thing, right?
Wow.
And that's what got Phelps fired, actually, is those tapes, right? So thing is, they literally, the lead detective comes in from interviewing a witness, right? Interviewing Gabby Torelli. She's the 911 caller, right? And so the lead detective comes back from that, and she literally, because they knew they were looking for a white stabber, basically, right? Because of Todd O'Quinn. Todd O'Quinn saw Travis take his mask off, right? So okay, so he knew, they knew they were looking for a white guy, right? And but they didn't know they were looking for Travis right at that point, right? They just knew they were looking for a white guy. Well, and my Facebook profile picture, because you got to remember this is November 17th, right? So okay, my Facebook profile picture is still my picture from Halloween night, which was Fantasy Fest, right? So I'm sitting there and I'm literally, a friend of mine, actually I have the picture of him too, but a friend of mine are sitting on this bench, and, man, these girls come up and they want to paint us up, right? They want to paint makeup on us or whatever. It's like, all right, cool, whatever, it's like they're cute, why not, right? So anyway, so, man, they paint us up, and then they're like, okay, well, they pose with this man knife, and, man, it's like, again, it's not a real knife or whatever, but, man, they have us pose with it, right? And they're
Mhm.
like, oh, it looks scary. Well, apparently I did a good job, right? Because okay, I put it up as my profile picture, at Halloween, right? And it's like, okay, so by chance, when I go, man, from the warehouse, which is where Roy Wilson stayed, right?
Mhm.
And he goes with me. I'm coming out to go pay my phone bill at Metro PCS one day, right? So I go, man. He asked, man, I'm on my way out. He asked if he could walk with me, right? I'm like, okay, cool. I don't know nothing's wrong. So, man, I'm like, yeah, no problem. Right. So we walk over there, right? And the CI tags him as Detroit, right? As the man that Paula described attacked her, right?
Okay.
So okay. So the CI tells, Phelps, and tells the detectives that, Detroit just left Metro PCS with a white guy, right? They know they're
Mhm.
looking for a white guy,
Right.
right? So they go behind us, go into Metro PCS. They pull up that face because they get, man, my phone record, but they get my Facebook too. And instantly they pulled up that Facebook. I was literally Maury Povich into the thing, right? It's
Uh-huh.
literally, it's like, look at his eyes, look at his nose, look at the knife in his hand. He got to be the killer, right? Whatever.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
So she literally is like, booyah, there's our white boy. And that's what she tells the lead detective when he comes in from that interview. It goes like this. He comes in, she's like, there's your white guy, right? And she
Mhm.
she had my name wrong at first, but, man, she gets it right eventually. And the thing is so nobody even bothers to ask why she says this. What makes you believe this? What evidence you have? What makes you think he's a suspect? None of that, right? They just immediately set about making me the white guy,
Okay.
right? And so it's like and, man, it's all on that tape. I mean, there's even one point where they're talking about Todd O'Quinn's lineup, right? And this is irony here too. Todd O'Quinn's lineup, they're talking about, Captain Phelps is like, well, if he doesn't pick him out of the lineup, we're all in big trouble, right? That's one of her quotes from the tape.
Okay.
And sure enough, Todd O'Quinn, who he points to in the lineup, he doesn't give 100% sure, but he goes, it's like, I can't be sure, but this is the guy who looks most like a guy I saw, and he points to Travis Johnson.
Really?
And it just happens to point to the one guy, man, who actually has something to do with it. So when that was going to come out, that's why Jones denied me that transport order, man, for bringing him from prison to come down and testify, right? Because, man, that would have killed killed the state's case. So with the motion to suppress, which I had that, and I tried to get it. right? Because Travis and I see, okay, and maybe I shouldn't say this, man, because the case is still going. But you know what? I've been honest about everything as far as it goes, right? And the dirt, I'll be honest with that too, right? But the thing is okay, that
Don't say you're not
no,
supposed
no, it's all right because I said it in the JOA anyway, so they know, man, what I think, right? I already said it publicly, so it doesn't really matter. But okay, but think of how dirty this is, right? Because it is kind of dirty, and this is the new prosecutors, not the one that already got, the one that already got fired, and then man literally lost their license for 2 years, over misconduct, right? That was the first ASA, the first prosecutor, right? These guys, though, okay, they have no evidence and they know it because okay, it took us 2 years to get rid of the jailhouse snitch, right? Took us 2 years, but we finally, man, exposed him for what he was,
to. Mhm.
right? He had first prosecutor at my bond hearing, right? I go to a bond hearing, and she comes out and she's like, "Well, he had no obvious incentives to lie. He was just appalled by Mr. Tucker's lack of remorse and all that kind of crap,
Mhm.
right?" And the thing is man, and she withheld this video because there was like 8 videos of him, man, giving stuff to the police, right? And we got 7 of them, all of them except for the first one, right? We get that 4 months later, and guess what's in the first one? He says exactly what he wants. He wants man out of jail. He wants to be back on probation. He wants the restraining order against his girl lifted. And we find out he gets paid two grand on top of it, right? Not only that, he gets paid 2 grand, but this guy has a contract with the sheriff's department and has worked over 50 cases as a snitch, man, and testifying against people,
Oh, wow.
right? But he has no obvious incentives to lie, right? You know what I'm saying? That's what she told the court that day, right? That's called fraud upon the court. Same thing I accused him of, man, in this case,
Okay.
or in this in the trial. It's fraud upon the court. You're lying to the court, and yeah, because that decision cost me. I was denied bond, and based on that, I would have stayed in jail the entire time, right? Um, luckily enough, I've actually found the law that got me out. I had a lot of time to read when I was in there, so
Yeah.
it's like, but anyway, but yeah, what I thought was dirty about these guys is this: Travis files a motion to suppress, right? And what he says in that is all the statements he just gave on the stand at that trial, they're all false. They were all coerced by investigators and prosecutors, right? Says they're all false, right? And he filed
Okay.
this with court, right? So it's a document that's in the court record,
Okay.
right? So then they go, even though he files this and says it's all a lie, what do? They go and cut him a deal, and man, they let him loose, right? Turn a guy loose that they know did this, right? So they can keep coming after me.
Yeah.
Now, because they have no other evidence. You saw the trial; they ain't got nothing,
Yeah.
and there's a good reason for that. You know what I'm saying? It's like I've told many people, and man, I've gotten criticized, man, because I guess I'm so used to saying I didn't do it so many times that man, maybe I don't say it strong enough anymore or whatever. But I got criticized for not saying it strong enough at the trial. Just being like, I didn't do this, and
Mm.
man, I didn't do this, right?
Yeah.
Um, it's like, so yeah, it's like, so you're gonna take a dude that just said everything you just put on the stand is a lie, right? And then they kept it out. They fought me. I tried to get it in like four or five different ways, right? Tried to
Yeah.
get it, and the judge just denied me, denied me, denied me. And this is coming from my lawyer, who was a U.S. attorney for the state of New Jersey, so he knows his law.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm trying to get it in exactly like he tells me, and then judge is just like, nope, 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 you're not bringing it in because it would have killed the prosecution's case, right? And now that guy, I don't know if you noticed, he wanted me to go to prison.
Yeah.
It was pretty obvious towards the end there.
Mhm.
And but the thing is like, I just think of how dirty that is, and it's like, okay, somewhere along the lines, in this whole fight in 6 years, right? It stopped becoming about me anymore. It really did, right? Because okay, I know they've done this to a lot of people. This
Mhm.
ain't just me. I'm not the first. It's like any other crime. You're never the first, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, and how many people are going to have, the fairy tale, the miracle come out of nowhere, man? The multimillionaires come out and actually give you the ability to fight, you
Right.
know? And man, then you got me, man. Look, I would have fought anyway. I grew up in Philly. We don't lay down for anybody. It's again, I'm not a man laying down for you.
Yeah.
Especially when I know, man, this is some dirty, dirty shit. You're wrong. You know. But anyway, so it's kind of a perfect combination between me and my wife. It's like, and then we worked as a great team together. And it's like almost every piece of evidence that we have, my wife and I dug out. Everybody always thought we had these high dollar investigators and stuff. It's just us sitting with laptops and public information requests and all kinds of different stuff. But man, we figured out a lot of things. And my lawyers, they didn't like the fact that I one of my stipulations for hiring them was, man, that I make all the final decisions.
Mm.
Right? They normally don't do that. Right? They normally don't. They won't do that. Right? But in my case, they did it because, man, it was one of the stipulations of being hired. Plus, they still couldn't, for all their experience, all their knowledge. And these are, Kara used to be was a prosecutor herself, right? She was a prosecutor for many years. Like I just told you, Jerry's qualifications. Jerry is, he knows the law like no other, right? But the problem is again, it doesn't. Again, how do you beat a dirty judge?
Mm.
And I knew he was dirty, and man, they figured it out eventually too. Once they knew I was right, it's like they turned. I was like, okay, now that what do we do about it? And they're like, well, we don't know. We've never been in this situation. And it's like, okay, well, my ass is still on the fire, you know.
Yeah.
So, if y'all ain't got a plan, then we're gonna have to roll with mine, because we got to do something, you
Yeah.
know. So everything we did was, kind of based on that after that. But the understanding that they showed me and the level of patience they showed with me, because I'm not easy sometimes, man. Yeah, I can be hard sometimes. It's like, especially it's hard not to get emotional over this.
Absolutely.
It costs me a lot, you know.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
sorry, I didn't mean to ramble there. It's just
no, it's great.
figured I'd give you some of that background story so you know kind of why I'm so happy.
Absolutely. No, it's so good. Thank you for sharing all of that. I hope the echo was a little bit better. I was playing a little bit with the audio here, but and you answered a lot of the questions I was going to ask. The first of being like, how exactly did you arrive at that decision and how were you consulting people? And knowing that you guys didn't have investigators and a lot of it was you and your wife just figuring things out. How were you able, or like how did you feel going into opening statements, like, okay, it's go time? Like, what was the preparation like the day before with the attorneys that you're consulting and your wife? Like, how was that for you?
It's funny because, okay, I was a little nervous because, man, I haven't done really any public speaking in a long time. I mean, I went to school, so man, I did some there,
Hmm.
but I really, I haven't done much of it, since then. I mean, but yeah, that was a little, especially when I did the Boy Dyer and there was like 60 of them there. And I'm trying
Yeah.
to do that. It's like that was a little tough, but and opening statements wasn't too bad because I kind of knew what I wanted to say,
Hmm.
and you know, the thing is, and this everybody says, I've heard these analysts talking about how calm and cool and all that other stuff I seem to be in that, and I think they mistake that in some ways, right? Because okay, yeah, I mean, I can remain calm. I learned a lot of patience the last 6 years. I mean, there were guys who tried to get in fights with me when I was in jail. I can't get into a fight. I get into a fight, they got a real charge now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I had to be patient. I had to put up with things that I would never put up with normally, right? But at the same time, so I learned some patience. But the other thing is I'm not scared of them. I wasn't scared of them a long time ago. They hit me. They made the mistake of hitting me with the one thing I'm afraid of very early on, right? Because man, when you hit me with that life sentence, that's the only thing I'm really afraid of. I'm not scared to die. Dying, man, everybody does, right? But I don't want to be locked up in a little box, man, for the rest of my life, man. Slowly being tortured to death. No,
Yeah.
that I don't want, right? So, if I hit me with that, it's like, okay, well, what else are you going to do to me? And I mean, that's why I wrote that letter. Everybody thinks, they read that letter and they don't really know the context of the letter, but there's a reason why I wrote that too. I mean, I don't do anything really, man, especially when it comes to the case without a reason. Everything is very well thought out. Like I told you, I studied war. You know, I don't do it, man, just to do it. I don't do it because I flew off the handle and decided to cuss out the judge. That's not how that goes. Everything I do is fairly calculated that way. It's just no, but I'm not a lawyer. I knew the risks. I mean, I know, yeah. I mean, I know I'm literally risking my life on it. But I did it, man, because not so much for me. I mean, I did it for me, obviously, because I want to go free. But I mean, I had to, man, had to get it out there so people like you and Court TV and all these people, man, who are now looking at it, right? And they're seeing what's wrong down there. People are looking at the case and they're like, this ain't normal. This isn't the
Yeah.
way it's supposed to go. And they don't even know the half of it. They don't even know how bad it really got. You know, I mean, there's all kinds of things that happened over the course of this time, right? And I mean, stuff that is just ridiculous. You would never think that, would ever happen, you know? And that's actually the answer we get from lawyers all the time when they look at it, right? Because man, we've gotten the same thing. I've gotten this from a few attorneys lately, but they'll tell me different things, man. Criticize us for how we run the defense and all that because we did a lot of things we did that you're not supposed to do, like talking on the phone in jail, right? They always tell you don't do that, right? No, me and my wife, 8 hours a day, every day, right? We figured, okay, you're gonna have to hire a whole new person just to listen to my phone calls, right? So 8 hours a day, right? And sometimes we make it good for them too. We get all nasty and man, make it good for them. So man, it's all good. Hope you got cigarettes, guys. You know, that kind of stuff. But and not only that, I would talk to them through the jail phone because I know they're listening. I know that man, they're recording this, and I know they're going back and listening. I'd be like, look, y'all need to drop this. You really need to drop this. And
Yeah.
I would talk shit, right? I'm like literally going to the prosecutor. I'm like, well, your face is kind of messed up, but your body's still good. So, straight up, I mean, you might be able to get some work on Backpage or something like that. But you need to drop this case, or else, man, straight up, no, your days as a prosecutor are done, right? I'm
This
literally
is why they won't leave you alone, Ty.
telling the thing is okay, but think about it. It's like sports, right? Why do you talk trash in sports? There's a very good reason, right? It throws them off their game. It gets them mad. If they're mad at you, they aren't concentrating on the game, right? They're making mistakes. They're doing stupid stuff, right? That was part of my job was man piss them off, basically. you know. And I'm pretty good at it. In case you couldn't tell, man, by the trial, I'm pretty good at that part.
I can tell.
Or go to the sheriff's Facebook page and man, look at the first post there. Oh yeah, you'll see me all up in there. Talking about, hey, Slicky Ricky, why don't you tell them the truth? All that stuff. Matter of fact, that one almost got me in trouble actually, because okay, I don't know if you found out, man, but there was talk of a Netflix series, man. There was people, man, trying to pitch it to Netflix, and man, there was a they shot a lot of video for it, so I don't know where they're at with it. I'm sure they're working on it now.
Mhm.
But the thing is the sheriff, ended up finding out naturally. I was trying to figure out a way to tell him, but he ends up finding out naturally, all right?
Mhm.
And so I go and it's around Christmas time, right? And so I go and I'm like, okay, and I go to send him a Netflix and chill package, right? Because man, because he's again, this is all going to come out on Netflix. I'm like, all that dirty crap you're doing, it's all going to come out, right? And so I went to go send him this Netflix and chill package, and I was like, because again, you can't be threatening or anything like that, right? So I write on the card, I'm like, I just wanted to say thank you for everything you and your department have done for me and my family. It's from the bottom of my heart. I really hope you enjoy this present and Merry Christmas to you, look at something like that, right? And
Okay.
man, sent it, right? Well, Kara goes and names him a witness the very next day. So man, I'm like, now man, I can't have that because that'd be tampering with a witness, right?
Right.
That'd be, so I'm like, oh, and I'm calling up. Can I get y'all need to reroute that back? I need that coming back. You know? So
So
but I mean that's the thing is, man, like I mean they constantly look of shock on their face many times. Just that, again, who the hell does this guy think he is? But that's the thing, it's the same thing I had going through my head. Is I'm like, okay, who the hell do you think you are?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because I look, just because I don't have a lot of money, because I didn't have a lot of money when this happened, and
Mhm.
just 'cause I'm working, man, with my hands and all that, and just because I'm a normal guy, right, who doesn't have I can't go hire attorneys or anything like that. That
Right.
doesn't mean you get to pick on me, and it doesn't mean you get to, man, come and, man, just literally, because, man, Phelps. Okay, one of the things that really pissed me off in those interview room tapes. There's a point in there where Phelps, man, was it the lead detective pitcher turns to Phelps and goes, "Well, we really don't have a lot on Tucker,
Mm.
right?" And Phelps's response was, "Well, it doesn't matter. They're all going to jail. All going to prison anyway." And they all start laughing,
Oh,
right?
wow.
And it's like my life doesn't mean anything. Like my kids don't mean anything. My family doesn't mean. My friends don't mean anything.
Right.
How sick is that? It's like, man, you don't even care. You know what you're doing, and you don't even care,
Mm.
right? And it's like, I mean, and no, I've never forgotten that. And man, so no, the thought that I'm going to be afraid of these people,
Yeah.
again, what are you going to do to me that, man, you're not already, man, threatening to do to me? That you're not already trying to do to me. What are you going to do? Take me down to the cell, beat me up? Fine, go for it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's about it. What are you going to do? So,
Wow.
so I did do some kind of outlandish kind of crap along the way, so I guess I just kind of put the big old cherry on top with the whole pro se thing. I don't know, but I'm
And
very
just to be clear, because you said it earlier, but I want to drive this point home because you are pro se based off of the specifics of your case, and you guys had a strategy and an intention
right,
behind that.
right.
And while
And I
it,
had lawyers behind me.
and you
That's
have,
the other thing. Let's be clear about that.
yeah,
I had help.
okay,
Doing this yourself, no. I would never suggest anybody do this. You know what I mean? And
okay,
I mean, look, unless again, like, you come down to it now, and man, look, I had to do what I thought was right. And man, it's a risky move. I knew it, you know what I'm saying? But again, I can't see any other way to win. He's pushing us to trial. My lawyers, man, are going to have the same problems with a man in there but they're not going to be able to do anything about it without without losing their careers.
yeah,
So it's like, okay, well, in that case, man, I don't have a career in law, so man, let's do the thing. They weren't real happy about it at first, but they realized, man, they did realize eventually that I was right. It's like one of the very few times, man, I've heard any of these lawyers, man, who thought it was an actually, they weren't sure it was a good move, but man, they knew I was right about why I did it.
yeah,
Because if you just do the same things everybody else does, guess what happens?
you
Get the
get the
same
same.
results.
Very well, very well. How did you decide to get on the stand? Because I have to say, my jaw dropped when I
Oh,
realized.
yeah, I heard the analysts too when they were talking about that. They were like, "This is a prosecutor's wet dream right here. You got a pro se defendant, and he's going to take the stand." It's like,
I
And here's the thing: I'd already taken the stand once before, so it wasn't new for me,
okay,
right? I actually did it in the civil case when Phelps tried to sue us. That same dirty captain,
yep,
right?
absolutely.
Okay, she literally gets fired, man, from her job, turns around and tries to sue me, my wife, and my attorney. So my
Yes.
attorney, talking about how good my attorney is, she got sued right along with us,
Oh my God.
right? So I mean, and still stood by me. I mean, that woman, I mean, like all of my defense team is about as good as it gets,
Mm,
right? I mean, and we are a team.
yeah.
There is no doubt. People had these rumors about us having a falling out, and yeah, we put stuff in the paperwork, man, because we had to.
Mm,
I'm saying, pretty much.
got it.
I mean, we had to come up with a reason why I'm going pro se. You know, but I mean, but I mean, not that it wasn't. It's not like we lied, but at the same time, man, it's like, okay, but it made everybody think. Well, it made everybody think that, man, we weren't good, right? But it was so far from the truth. Matter of
Mm,
fact, at my hearing, they sat there and argued with the judge, to be my advisors, and they argued to be able to sit at the table. The judge said no, they wouldn't. He wouldn't let them sit at the table with me. Other people have said that, man, gave me that advice, in some of the chats or whatever, right? They've given me that advice. Well, at least have a lawyer sitting there with you, and I argued for that. He wouldn't give it to me.
mm,
So, it had to be this. It had to be this way.
got it.
And but I'll tell you, looking back on all of it, man, it's like, but yeah, I took the stand once before, and man, that one, talk about doing good in that one.
Hmm.
Oh man, because I made that, okay, again, same kind of thing, but man, everybody wants to see me on the stand, right? Everybody wants to take their, what's going to happen when you throw them on the stand? Let's take a
Yeah.
shot. And this is Phelps's, man. And in my opinion, he is a weasel lawyer, right? Because, man, you got to put out that's an opinion. I can't say that for a
Right,
fact.
right.
So anyway, because I was being sued for defamation and, man, civil conspiracy.
Oh,
So
wow.
this woman tries to set me up for homicide, and then literally, man, turns around and, man, has the audacity to sue me for defamation.
Wow.
You know, so I was a little pissed, to
Yeah,
say.
imagine.
And so anyway, so she goes ahead and does this, and, man, okay, I get subpoenaed for deposition like anybody else. So now
Mhm,
I gotta take the stand, right? Now, if you were guilty, probably scared the hell out of you,
mhm,
right? But okay, when you know you didn't do it, there's a lot of power in that. It
mm,
really is. Not that it's good that somebody who didn't do it gets arrested, but there's a lot of power in it because literally, okay, from the very beginning, they could threaten me with whatever they wanted. It doesn't matter. Threaten me with whatever you want. Threaten me with DNA. I don't care. Threaten me with whatever. I don't care. I know I didn't do it, so I don't care. You know, and, man, there's power in that. So they have nothing. You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing: is if they're going to take you to trial, they're going to have to make something. And
yep,
that's what we called them with the jailhouse snitch. That's how we called them. All along the way is because we knew they were going to have to do different things to try and, man, take me to trial.
yeah,
Anyway, so I get on the stand, man, for this one. And at first, okay, my lawyer for that case is a different lawyer, right? And this guy, his name's Mark, and, man, he's really good. He's a very good lawyer. He's a really good guy, right? But he
mhm,
didn't understand me. He didn't understand the case. Then, I mean, everybody coming into it, when they first look at it, any lawyer, man, I mean, again, especially at that point, he probably thought I was guilty. I've never asked him, but I bet you he thought I was, right? Because it's like, most of the time, man, yeah, the clients are guilty most
yeah,
of the time, right? I mean, I was a lawyer's wet dream in that sense, because again, that's what they go to law school for,
yeah,
right? When they're young and they're, going through law school, they're dreaming of this big case where, man, everything's on the line. The guy's innocent and he's up against, man, the government, the whole thing, right? And yeah, I mean, that's, yeah, my lawyers, man, they knew I was innocent, man. It took a second to even get them to listen, but anyway. Point being is, so he sends me this thing. It's like a 15-page thing on the benefits and drawbacks of pleading the fifth, right? In a civil case, right?
okay,
And I read maybe a page of it, right? I read maybe a page of it, right? And I was like, so I hit him up and I'm like, look, man, they got 5,700 hours worth of phone calls between me and my wife, right? I've done interviews with everybody and, everybody and their brother, and I've told everybody and their brother about this case.
yeah,
If I want to somehow incriminate myself or mess up my lie or something like that,
yeah,
that would have happened years ago.
Huh.
Shit, that would have happened years ago.
Yeah.
Not only am I not going to plead the fifth, but I can't wait to get on that stand and look her in the eye and tell her what's up. You know what I'm saying?
Ty, you had them people stressed out.
A little bit, a little bit. Actually, she didn't even have the heart to face me. She couldn't
Oh,
even, man, because I watched her depo. All good, man. I'm just popcorn. I'm good. You know. But the thing is with her though, she couldn't, man, actually look me in the eye when I took the stand,
Mm.
right? And tells you a lot too, by the way, when they do that. But okay, so anyway, so I get on the stand, and, man, this guy, he asked me maybe 10 questions, something like that, right? And, man, most of them are pretty stupid questions, but I mean, again, kind of like I did with Mansfield. I'm
Mhm.
being blatantly honest. I'm just like literally just firing it right back, man. Okay, yes, no, okay, yeah, and telling it just like it is. Like, I seen it. Was it one of the questions was, oh, this one, since I'm being sued for defamation and civil conspiracy because, that tape got out to the press about her, was it, her trying to have a uniformed officer act like a neo-Nazi,
Oh,
and
yeah.
pull over Roy Wilson and all that,
Mhm.
right? Well, okay, and, man, he goes up there. He's like, so did you mean for that to go to the press? And he's expecting me to lie, right? And I'm like, yeah, sure as hell did, you know. And he's like, he starts stuttering. He's like, why would you do that? And I was like, because dirty people don't do dirty things when the press is watching, you know. And,
Mm.
man, so I mean that tells you kind of how it goes,
Got
right?
it.
So he asks about 10 questions. Then he goes back, man. He's like, I need a 5 minute break. Goes back, talks to Phelps, comes out, asks me maybe 3 or 4 more, and then he's gone. Runs, man, with his tail between his legs. Because everything he was throwing at me, I'm just throwing right back at him and his client. I know what she did, right? It's not a question in my head, right? So it's like, I don't know, man. But Mansfield was very similar, right, man? Mansfield was trying to bully me, and, man, bullying me is not a good idea. It's like, that is always going to get that sarcasm. It's always going to get that response coming out, at you. Because yeah, I am angry. I even
Yeah.
apologized to Mark afterwards because he was like, don't show you're angry, don't show emotions, just try and answer real quick yes or no questions, that kind of thing, right? And but I talked to him later and I apologized to him, but I was like, and same thing, kind of with the whole Mansfield thing. People think, I'm arrogant or something like that. No, that's not it. I'm pissed, right? And you know, it's it's literally like, okay, my feeling is this: is if I try and hide the fact that I'm angry from the jury, right? If I try not to have them see that I'm angry, right? It comes off as lying
Right.
because you kind of are. You know what I'm saying? If you're trying to hide that anger, and who wouldn't be angry? You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? This woman stole 6 years of my life.
Absolutely.
I mean, and my son was 14. He was supposed to come in, live with me, and I mean, I missed his entire, that entire high school years. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And you can't. Again, to ask any parent out there, how much money, man, are they going to? How much money would it cover to take away your child, your children's childhood? How
Right.
much would it take to buy that from you?
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't
Mhm.
think they can give you enough money.
No.
You know. So so yeah, I mean, yeah, I was pissed at her, man, pissed at her little weasel lawyer. But the thing is, man, but yeah, so I get up on the stand, and here's the thing: I don't have to worry about getting on the stand because the truth is real easy to remember. You
So
know,
you are gonna have a new judge obviously assigned to the case, and
Yep.
you a new motion for dismissal is the plan.
And yeah, that is the plan to be. But
So wait,
unfortunately,
are you saying you want to go into some law or something after this is all over?
well,
You're interested?
I don't see me going into law. I don't really like. I should look. I never wanted to do it the first time. I used to tell my lawyers all the time. I was like, man, I never want your job. Your job sucks. You know. So I mean, no, I never want to go into law. Unfortunately, I've happened to over 6 years. I've developed some skills at it. I
Mhm.
do know, man, some of the law, especially in Florida. I know how, man, it works, right? And I've done some here, man, for friends, whatever, that kind of stuff, because I can read the legalese, that kind of crap. But thing is no, but I did do a lot of advocacy work when I first got out of jail. I was working for, doing work for, wrongful convictions and, against wrongful convictions, prison reform, criminal justice reforms, those kind of things. I own my own company. I started my own company when I was, with Lauren at the house, and I started my own company there. But one of the things I have in there is I have community service programs that I have through my company that I'm working on right now,
Mhm.
and it addresses some of these things. Like here's one for instance, right? This is one I plan on trying to do. It's a prison reform program, right? But what it is one of the biggest problems in jail and in prison both, right, is when inmates when they get locked up, right? Well, they have families outside. They have kids. They have wives. They have people who are dependent on their paycheck,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Right? People, man, who are dependent on them to feed those mouths, right? I have a program. It's called inmate auctions. I'm working on, right? And
Okay.
what that is, it's kind of like an eBay thing, right? But where inmates, because a lot of them have the pads now, right? Now they can either do it through those or do it through their family, whatever, but it allows them to sell, their writings, their artwork. I mean, anything that they create while they're
Yeah.
behind bars, they can sell on this auction and use the money however they see fit, right?
Wow.
They actually make real money as opposed to getting a soup and a chip,
Mhm.
right? So they can either put it towards the defense, they can send some home to their family, whatever they want to do with it, but they can earn a living while they're in jail or
Wow.
while they're in prison,
Yeah.
right? So yes, I plan on getting into some of those things when I get done with this, hopefully.
That's
I mean,
that's amazing. I have a couple questions just before I let you go. I know we've been on for a while, and I appreciate you.
I
Um,
can run my mouth for a while. Sorry about that.
it's been good. First, the a lot of people were asking, how is Paula?
Paula's doing okay. I saw her right before I, left to come out here.
Okay.
She's a little worried about a couple things, but her legs are looking better.
Okay.
Her feet still need some healing. She
Yeah.
needs some healing time, is what she needs.
Yeah.
The whole, see, that's the thing too, is, man, that whole debacle with, man, the first time, we had her try and testify.
Mhm.
That Paula wasn't like that. I
Mm.
saw her in the morning. She was fine. She was totally lucid, right? We did the test for the Zoom. Everything worked. She's lucid. Everything's fine, right?
Mhm.
Come back to do it. Now we have all kinds of technical difficulties on her side, right?
Mhm.
And man, again, she's doped out. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I mean, you talk about catching me off guard. That caught me off guard, and I was worried about her because, man, I mean, again, she's not, again, shortly before that, I was told, that she may or may not make it.
Yeah.
And man, I'm sitting there thinking I'm going to watch her die in court.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like it's not exactly one of my better days.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she's doing good now, and man,
Good.
hopefully she will keep doing good. Get a lung transplant, man, live a whole bunch more years. That's what
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
Yeah. So you and your wife are together still and still kind of double teaming this.
We are still together. She's still my wife. We did
Love
separate. And we're reevaluating that,
it. Got it.
right? It's
Yeah.
like, look, we don't know how much of our problems were caused by all this.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of times I had to look that woman in the eye, and man, we thought it was going to be over, right? Again, we thought there's no way, man. There's no, this is done. There's no way they can, man, keep going, right? And sure enough, man, Judge Jones make a ruling, or something would happen, and next thing you know, I mean, you know, she's in tears because, man, she's frustrated and, man,
Yeah.
she's
A lot.
tired. It's like, I get it. I get it. It's like, I don't blame her for, those things. It's like, it's hard for us to say, right? Because here's another thing about me and my wife. And man, people have a tendency that I was reading some of the comments, and they criticize me a lot because of my mannerisms and how I handle people, and even being late, things like that, right?
A lot of people have questions about that.
Well, and the thing is okay, people will forget I haven't actually I've been a prisoner for 6 years,
Mhm.
right? I have to email the court to even go out and take my trash out or go check my mail,
Wow.
right? So I mean, I don't leave my apartment.
Mhm.
I never leave my apartment. And when I was at the house, I mean, I could go out in the yard, but I mean, I never leave the house there. And then before that, I was in jail for 2 years,
Yeah.
right? So I haven't had to be on time anywhere for 6 years. Right? I mean, it's just, and I'm not even used to dealing with people. I'm not, I have a few friends who come over, stuff like that,
Yeah.
but I don't deal with very many people anymore. So my mannerisms and, some of my manners, man, I don't know whether they're slacking or what, but I'm just not used to dealing with people, right?
Yeah.
I'm not used to being outside or even just going and getting a cup of coffee from the corner store around the courthouse. You know, I don't get to do that most of the time. I have to have everything brought here. I
Yeah.
don't get to go grocery shopping. I have Instacart brings this stuff or Amazon or whatever, right? So, you know, it's just I'm not used to it, right? And that's part of it. But my wife and I, and we did go to a therapist. Went to therapist for a little while, right? It's the first time I've ever had therapy, first
Mm.
time,
Mhm.
and you know, and unfortunately, the guy was like, both of them actually, because we had a couples one, then we had my individual one. We each had
Uh-huh.
them. They were both like, "Well, you're going to be messed up for life over this,"
Mm.
and I was like,
Ah.
well, "That's a crappy thing to say," you know. Like
Yeah.
I think I'm doing pretty good, all things considered, right? And and no, but I'll tell you what. After a few years later, they're right in a sense. Not necessarily that I'll be messed up for life, but okay. Here's the problem, and it is for Lauren and me, right?
Yeah.
Both of us, right? Every day we wake up and we go through this, right? Every day, right?
Mhm.
And every day in your head, you're going, this shouldn't be. I shouldn't be here. Like you
Yeah.
even heard me say that to the judge. I shouldn't be here risking my behind on this, right?
Yeah.
I shouldn't be here, right? So you're doing that every day, right? But then the other half of your brain's going, but it is, and
Mm.
you better deal with it, right?
Yeah.
So constantly, every day, your brain is at war with itself, going, about what's real. That's what it's arguing about. It's about,
Mm.
this shouldn't be. It shouldn't be real. There's no way this happens, right? And then the other side's going, but it is, and you better, step up and then take care of it, right? Well, how long can you go with your mind arguing about what's real before
Right.
you lose it? You know what I'm saying? Before you do start going crazy.
But again, thank you. I think I got my questions out. I think I got the people's questions out.
Okay.
Uh, I
Well, I'll
don't know.
tell you what, anytime. So, man, if you want to do a follow up, you
Yeah,
ever get some more questions, they got other stuff they want to know.
yeah.
I'm pretty much an open book, and Lord knows I still can't go anywhere. So,
So,
I'm still right here. So,
well, I'll
yeah,
continue following it for sure, following your story and your case, and seeing what happens from here. Thank you again for sharing, and being here. And yeah, we'll see what happens from here. All the best to you, truly.
hey,
Can't wait
thanks a
to do
lot
it.
for having me and let me give me a voice. Thank you.
All right.
Thank